Linguistics or study of language, Semantics, complete chapter, Number 9. Semantics, the study of meaning in language, focuses on widely accepted, objective, and factual meanings of words, rather than personal or subjective meanings. This objective meaning is referred to as referential meaning, which includes the basic, essential components of a word's meaning, such as the definition found in a dictionary. For example, the referential meaning of needle in dictionary may include a thin, sharp, steel instrument. In contrast, associative or emotive meanings, such as one's, personal, associations or connotations. For example, by saying needle, one may refer to pain, drug, thread, or knitting. Understanding referential meaning is important for explaining why certain sentences, like, "the hamburger ate the boy," seem odd or unusual, despite being grammatically correct. The oddness comes from the mismatch between the words' referential meanings and their use in the sentence, allowing one, not the other, to make sense with the verb ate. Quite simply, the kind of noun used with ate must denote an entity that is capable of eating. The noun hamburger doesn't have this property and the noun boy does. Semantic features. By identifying crucial elements like animate being, we can label words as plus or minus for that feature. For example, boy is plus animate and hamburger is minus animate. This helps differentiate word meanings. Using this approach, we can describe the meaning of girl as plus human, plus female, and minus adult. We can also identify required features for nouns to be subjects of specific verbs, predicting which words would make a sentence semantically odd. Some verbs need subjects with plus animate, while others require plus human. This analysis can be applied to sentences like, "the ate all the food," and "the is reading the newspaper," where only certain words with the right semantic features can fit grammatically and semantically. So, in the first sentence, the noun required to be fit with the verb ate must have a semantic feature plus animate, but not essentially plus human, because animals also eat, and we're not sure about the subject in the sentence, either it is a human or not. Instead, the feature plus human well fits to the verb reading in second sentence, because only humans are capable of reading. Limitation of semantic features. It's not always easy to identify clear components of meaning for many words. For example, trying to differentiate between advice, threat, and warning using semantic features is challenging. The problem lies in viewing words as containers of meaning, components, which is too restrictive and limited, but there is more to word meaning than just these basic features, and a more comprehensive approach is needed to capture the complexity of language. Semantic role. An alternative approach to understanding the meanings of the words is focusing on the roles words play in a sentence called semantic roses, also called thematic roles or case roles, rather than viewing them as containers of meaning. Agent and theme. The agent is the entity that performs the action, for example, the boy in "the boy kicked the ball," while the theme is the entity involved in or affected by the action, for example, the ball in the same sentence. The theme can also be an entity being described, as in, "the ball was red." Agents are typically human, but can also be non-human entities, like natural forces, for example, the wind, machines, for example, a car, or creatures, for example, the dog. Themes are usually non-human, but can also be human, for example, the boy in "the dog chased the boy." Examples 1 to 5 illustrate these different scenarios. Instrument and experiencer. Instrument is the semantic role of the noun phrase, identifying the entity that is used to perform the action of the verb. For example, the razor and the boy cut the rope with a razor. Note that the preposition with is often a clue that the following noun phrase has the role of instrument in English. Experiencer is the semantic role of the noun phrase, identifying the entity that has the feeling, perception, or state. We feel, oh, hear, or enjoy something. We are not really performing an action. Hence we are not agents. We are in the role of experiencer. In the first sentence below, the experiencer, the woman, is the only semantic role. In the second example, the question is asking if you had the experience of hearing the theme that noise. Location, source, and goal. Location identifies the place such as on the table or in the room where an entity is. Where the entity moves from is called the source. For example, from New York, and the place or direction where an entity moves to is the goal. For example, to Florida. When we talk about transferring money from savings to checking, the source is savings, and the goal is checking. Lexical relations. Lexical relations are third approach to understanding word meaning, which focuses on the relationships between words. Instead of defining a word's meaning by its component features or roles in events, we can explain its meaning by its connections to other words. For example, we might define conceal as synonymous with hide, shallow as the antonym of deep, or pine as a hyponym of tree, a specific type of tree. This approach, known as lexical relations, analyzes the relationships between words, including synonymy same meaning, antonymy opposite meaning, and hyponymy specific to general meaning. Synonymy. Synonymy is a lexical relation between words with closely related meanings that can often be substituted for each other in sentences. Examples of synonyms include answer and reply, big and large, and buy and purchase. However, it's important to note that synonyms are not always perfectly interchangeable, and the context and connotation of the words can affect their usage. For instance, answer is more appropriate in a test context, while reply sounds odd. Additionally, regional differences and formal vs. informal uses can also impact the choice of synonyms. The paragraph highlights the nuances of synonymy and encourages a more nuanced understanding of sameness of meaning. Although broad and wide can both be used to describe a street in a similar way, we only talk about being in broad agreement, not wide, and in the whole wide world, not broad. There are also regional difference in the use of synonymous pairs, with candy, chips, diaper, and gasoline in American English being equivalents of sweets, crisps, nappy, and petrol in British English. Synonymous forms may also differ in terms of formal versus informal uses. The sentence "My father purchased a large automobile" has virtually the same meaning as "My dad bought a big car," with 4 synonymous replacements, but the second version sounds much more casual or informal than the first. Antonymy. Antonyms are words with opposite meanings. For example, big or small. Antonyms can be categorized into 3 types: gradable opposites along a scale, non-gradable direct opposites, and reversives. One is the reverse action of the other. Understanding antonyms helps us appreciate the nuances of language and how words relate to each other. Hyponymy. Hyponymy represents the relationship of, is a kind of between words, where a hyponym is a specific kind of a more general term, superordinate or higher level. For example, Schnauzer is a kind of dog, Yorkie is a kind of dog, also known as a Yorkshire Terrier, and banyan is a kind of tree. Hyponymy is not limited to nouns, but also applies to verbs, such as punch, shoot, and stab, are co-hyponyms of injure. Bake, boil, fry, and grill are co-hyponyms of cook. Microwave is also a co-hyponym of cook for many people. This relationship helps to capture the meaning of words and how they relate to more general terms. Prototypes. A prototype is the most characteristic instance or kind of a category or general term. It helps explain word meaning through resemblance to the clearest example, rather than component features or hyponymy. For example, robin is considered a prototypical example of the category bird, while ostrich or penguin may be less typical examples. Chair is a prototypical example of furniture, while bench or stool may be less typical. The categorization process involved in prototypes can vary substantially due to individual experiences, leading to disagreements over the categorization of words like avocado or tomato, which can be considered co-hyponyms of both fruit and vegetable in different contexts. Homophones and homonyms. Homophones are two or more words with different forms, but the same pronunciation. Common English examples are bear, bear, flower, flower, meat, meat, pale, pale, pear, pear, right, right, so, so, two, two, two. Homonyms are two words with the same form that are unrelated in meaning. For example, bat, a flying creature, and bat, a used in sports. Note, similarity in form is accidental and not indicative of a connection in meaning. Polysemy. Polysemy is a single word form that has multiple related meanings. Examples of polysemous words include head, a body part, foam on beer or leader, foot, also a body part, or a bed leg or mountain base, mouth, face part, also cave entrance and river outlet. To distinguish between polysemy and homonymy, one can consult a dictionary. Polysemous words will have a single entry with multiple meanings, while homonymous words will have separate entries. Some words can exhibit both homonymy and polysemy, like date, food vs. point in time, with the latter having multiple related meanings. This complexity can lead to varying interpretations of a sentence like, "How was your date?" Wordplay. Wordplay is use of lexical relations like polysemy, homonymy, and homophony to create a humorous effect. Examples include the nursery rhyme, Mary had a little lamb, where m has two meanings, animal and meat, due to polysemy, and the riddle, what has 4 legs, but only 1 foot, which uses polysemy of leg and foot to lead to the answer of bed, and Shakespeare's use of homophones, son and son, in the play Richard III. Metonymy. Polysemy is based on similarity in meaning, while metonymy involves using one word to refer to another closely related word, such as container contents such as bottle and water, can and juice, whole part, car and wheels, house and roof, representative symbol, king and crown, president and White House. Examples of metonymy in language include, he drank the whole bottle, meaning that he drank liquid, not the glass object, the White House has announced, meaning the people in the White House, not the building itself. Collocation. Collocation is a relationship between words that frequently occur together. For example, salt and pepper. Corpus linguistics involves analyzing large databases of text to identify common word combinations of collocation, such as hammer and nail, table and chair, butter and bread, needle and thread. Additionally, corpus linguistics has identified common phrases like, I don't know what to do, you know what I mean, they don't want to. Research in this area demonstrates that our understanding of word and phrase meanings is closely tied to the contexts in which they are typically used. Finally, we have completed the chapter. If you find the video helpful, then do subscribe to the channel. Goodbye.